Classification of meristem. So meristem is also classified based on its position. The meristem is divided into three types: apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. So these are the three types of meristem. This classification of meristem, and this meristem is classified based on the position where they are present. So three types of meristems are known. One is apical meristem, another one is intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. First we see about the apical meristem. Apical meristem is found at the tips of roots. So apical position. In the apical position, the meristems are present. The tips of the roots. So apical meristem is found at the tips of roots, stem, and branches. It is responsible for increase in length of plants. It is divided into three zones, that is protoderm, procambium, and ground meristem. Protoderm gives rise to epidermal tissue. Procambium gives rise to primary vascular tissues, and ground meristem gives rise to cortex and pith. So apical meristems are present in the tips of roots, stems, and branches, etc. So these apical meristem, function of this apical meristem is it increases the length of the plant, and this is also divided into three zones. That is, apical meristem is divided into three zones, namely protoderm, procambium, and ground meristem. So protoderm is the first zone, which gives rise to the epidermal tissue. So protoderm gives the epidermal tissue growth, and procambium gives rise to the primary vascular tissue. So this cell gives rise to the primary vascular tissues, and ground meristem, this is the last zone of apical meristem, which gives rise to the cortex and pith. Intercalary meristem. This is the second type of meristem. It is present in the nodal region and is prominently found in monocotyledons, example grasses. As the name indicates, it is present in between the permanent tissues. It is divided from the apical meristem and is responsible for the elongation of internode. So intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, function of this meristem is to elongate the internodes, and this is the meristem which is derived from the apical meristem, and it names indicates that it is intercalary meristem. It names indicates it is present in between the permanent tissues. Most prominently it found in the monocotyledon plants, examples grasses. Lateral meristem. The meristem that is present along the longitudinal axis of stem and root is called lateral meristem. Vascular cambium and core cambium, that is a phyllogen, are examples for lateral meristem. It produces secondary permanent tissues which result in the thickening of stem and root. So the lateral meristem is the meristem that is present along the longitudinal axis of stem. It is present along with the longitudinal axis of the stem root, and vascular cambium and core cambium are example for lateral meristem. So we know that vascular cambium is the example, core cambium is otherwise known as phyllogen, which is example for the lateral meristem, and this lateral meristem produces secondary permanent tissues which results in the thickening of stem and root. So the main function of this lateral meristem is to thickening of stem and root. LS of suit showing the position of meristems. So LS of suit is given in the below, that is the diagram, and the position of that meristem. So meristems are classified on the basis of the position where they are present. So the position of the three meristems are given. First one is in the suit. The tip of the suit contain the apical meristem. So apical meristems are present. These cells are present in the tip of that stem, root, or branches, etc. And intercalary meristem in between, which increases the internode elongation. So intercalary meristems are present in between the apical and lateral meristem, and finally the lateral meristem is present. So pointed out here, the lateral meristem is present. So vascular cambium is example.
Types of meristem. Basically, the plant anatomy is the study of the internal structures and organization of plants, especially of their parts, by means of the dissections and microscopic examination. The simple type of plant body is unicellular. In such forms, the single cell performs all the vital functions of life. It grows, prepares food, undergoes metabolism, reproduces, and completes its spans of life. The progressive evolution in plants has resulted in increasing complexity of structures. In higher plants, roots, stem, leaves, and flowers carry out the different functions. Due to this divisions of labor, the cells of the plant are differentiated to form the different tissues. So the study of the internal structures of plants reveals many types of tissues. Morphologically, a tissue is a group of cells which are similar in origin, form, and function. Physiologically, a tissue is composed of dissimilar cells that perform a common function. Next, following the meristematic tissue. A meristematic tissue is a group of identical cells that are in a continuous state of division. Some cells produced by meristematic tissue stop dividing and acquire certain changes to become the permanent tissue of the plant. This change from the meristematic to permanent tissue is called a differentiation. The remaining cells in the meristem retain their meristematic activity. In this, meristematic cells are self-reputing. In this classification, based on its positions, the meristem is divided into the three parts. One is the apical meristem, another one is intercalary meristem, last one is lateral meristem. First one is apical meristem. In this, meristem is found at the tip of the root, stem, and branches. It is responsible for increase in length of plant. It is divided into three zones. One is protoderm, procambium, and ground meristem. In this, protoderm gives rise to epithelial tissue, procambium gives rise to primary vascular tissues, and ground meristem gives rise to the cortex and pith. This is the apical meristem. Following the intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem is present in the nodal region and is prominently found in the monocotyledons. Examples, the grasses. As the name indicates, it is present in between the permanent tissues. It is derived from the apical meristem and is responsible for the elongations of interroots. Third one is the lateral meristem. In this lateral meristem, that is present along the longitudinal axis of the stem, and the root is called the lateral meristem. In this, vascular cambium and core cambium are example for this lateral meristem, and it produces the secondary permanent tissues. This is the nucleus, this is the cytoplasm. It produces the secondary permanent tissues which results in the thickening of stem and root. This is the type of meristem. In these characteristic features of these meristematic cells, the meristematic cells may be a round, oval, polygonal or rectangular in shape. They are closely arranged without intercellular spaces. They have dense cytoplasm with large nucleus, and they have a smaller vacuoles which are scattered throughout the cytoplasm. In their cell walls are thin, elastic, and made up of a cellulose. This is the characteristics of meristematic cells. So, classification means this is the apical meristem, this is the intercalary meristem, this is the lateral meristem. This is the characteristic of meristematic cells. These cells contain the nucleus, cytoplasm, and small vacuoles. In the small vacuoles are spread around